Good evening, everybody. Hoping everybody's having a good night, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Wanted to talk to people again tonight about this Social Security account, because for some reason people aren't getting it, and it's a very simple connection. The Social Security account was always presented to be a voluntary program that was required in order to have a job, in order to get a job. Well, the problem is that when you get a Social Security account, what it truly is an employment application. And we can prove this because they classify you as a Medicare qualified government employee. This is noted in the Social Security Act. As being a Medicare qualified government employee, what that means is that Social Security account is an insurance account. That insurance account is a Title 4D federally funded Medicare account. You see where I'm going now? Social Security used to have its own specific account. Those funds used to be deposited in that specific account. They are no longer deposited in that same account. That account no longer exists. It's now a general account in which those funds are contributed into by employees who make those contributions under these Social Security payments on their checks. And the FICA, Federal Income Contributions Act, of which that once they're deposited into that general fund, then the federal government matches those funds. This is all done through the Federal Acquisitions Regulations Act, Part 52.212-5, wherein it states that commercial or contract terms and conditions are required to implement statutes or executive orders - commercial item. What that means is all of your state statutes and federal statutes both are contracts. They are commercial items done under the commercial judicial procedure of the Congress, not under the executive judicial power of Congress, but through the commercial policies and procedures of Congress. Now that contract extends down to when you filled out that application and they made you a Medicare qualified government employee, and in using the Federal Reserve notes internally as an employee of an employer, which is a government entity, those Federal Reserve notes, you are an authorized representative to be able to pass debt instruments, which are obligations of the United States. And this is all clarified through, Title 18 of the United States Code, wherein it defines the obligations of the United States, obligations and other securities of the United States. The UCC, which is the Uniform Commercial Code 9-307, it tells you the location of the debtor. Now, we know the debtor is the United States because they are the obligation. They hold the obligation of all debt instruments. Okay? Now, under UCC 9-307, it says location of debtor. Subsection H, it says United States is located in the Washington, D.C., the District of Washington, D.C. And then, of course, we see, let's see, what is it? UCC 3-402, subsection B, part 1, it says authorized representative is not liable for the person named in the instrument. That person named in the instrument is a citizen. Again, an obligation of the United States. Okay? They are the debtor. Now, the way all of this works is there's a trust established or an estate established. And in that estate, it has co-trustors, co-trustees, and co-beneficiaries. When you're a minor, your mommy is the co-trustor. The United States is the other co-trustor. Mommy is the creditor trustor. Man is always on the side of the creditor. So whenever there's a co-trustee, co-trustor, co-beneficiary position, man lies in the creditor's side of that position. So there's a debtor, trustor, and a creditor, trustor. A debtor, trustee, and a creditor, trustee. A debtor, beneficiary, and a creditor, beneficiary. As a minor child, you are the creditor, beneficiary. As an adult who has not stepped up into the correct capacity, you are creditor trustee. And if you act appropriately, you can administrate that estate trust properly yourself. You have to appoint the correct duties to the correct people in the correct capacities to administrate the correct duties. You have to have once you claim the age of majority and you step into capacity of executor, understand the capacity of executor is as executor of the estate, which holds a trust, and you are now in trustor position as executor with proper claim, true and rightful claim as executor to appoint a trustee for the beneficiary who is your person. Understand this stuff, people. When they assigned you as an employee, a Medicare qualified government employee, and restricted you to the use of Federal Reserve notes, understand the Federal Reserve Act with the Savings to Suitors Clause, the Social Security Act, the definitions therein that they use, and how as an employee, a government employee, you are a cardholder of the person who owns an account of the Federal Reserve as a branch account. They have monopolized you into using a debt instrument that is an obligation of both of those agencies under the state, Secretary of State, and the governor. The governor is not incorporated. He's not part of the state entity. He's the CEO, and he is liable. He has a bond, and if you make a claim against him, that insurance company that's holding his surety bond is going to hold him surety. You understand how that works now? Anyway, that Social Security account is an insurance account for the Federal Reserve. And you are the authorized representative. Through the United States government itself, you have a exemption, and that's clarified under 12 U.S.C. 411. Read that and understand what lawful coin is. This legal tender is not lawful coin. Lawful coin is gold and silver. Gold and silver is described. Who was it? I think Malika Dulce posted it earlier to remind me. 31 USC 1351, I think, tells you how Federal Reserve notes are legal tender. However, gold and silver lawful coin does not constitute legal tender. No, apple pie, it is 12 USC 411. Yes, 12 USC 411. So think about this stuff and understand where all this information comes from. It's all internal. The UCC, Uniform Commercial Code, that's internal for the United States and the states. In order for the states to be able to contract, they have to be able to use a international contract. But they have to do it through, like I said, the Federal Acquisitions Regulations. Federal Acquisitions Regulations talk about contract terms and conditions required to implement statutes. States use statutes, and so they need contract terms and conditions with a higher authority. That higher authority is the federal government, who holds a contract on the international sale of goods, which is for the International Forum. Now, when it comes to all these state courts and everything, and they run you into the traffic courts, child courts, family courts, whatever, they're running domestic bonds off of that insurance account. Domestic bonds within the United States and the federal government. Once that case is over, the state sells those bonds to the federal government to sale on the internet, for sale on the international markets. I don't know exactly how that all works. Some of them are sold, some of them are not. Some of them have certain terms that are required, and terms are a length of time. A term is for the term of 30 days, the term of 60 days, the term of 90 days. Those are your lower T-bonds or whatever they are. You got notes, bills, and bonds. Those are your three tiers, notes, bills, and bonds. And I believe it's the notes are the lowest tier. That's why you have Federal Reserve notes. They're the lowest terms. They can be renewed every 30, 60, 90 days. That's why the old notes that are getting all crumbled up and everything get turned in and they get destroyed and new notes are made, and they use that excuse for making new notes, da-da-da-da. That's how all that works. But understand this stuff and where these dots connect. The Federal Reserve Act with the Savings to Suitors Clause, understand that stuff. You've got your Title 42 of the United States Code, Section 1983, which is your civil rights claim, civil rights suit against governments, where you use your Clearfield Doctrine. When they act in these commercial capacities, they are not acting in a executive, administrative, judicial powers. They're acting under federal acquisitions regulations for commercial purposes, and therefore they're bound by contract terms and conditions on an international level. So as long as we enforce that international level of contracts rather than bowing down to their bullshit, then we win. And it's just a matter of knowing this stuff, knowing how the dots connect. When you sign that Social Security retirement application, understand that should automatically mean that once they give you that account, you're qualified, right? So once you become disabled, why do you have to reapply? Something's not right there. So it takes some critical thinking to think about this stuff And so when you go in and you apply for disability, so you can see what kind of terms and stuff that they use on their paperwork, and also you see MQGE, and you ask them what that stands for, and then you find it in your research in the Social Security Act, and you see how that dot ties together, and you see how they've actually given you a Social Security application under the pretense that you've got retirement benefits coming as long as you pay in, and yet they call it voluntary. Federal Income Contributions Act. It's a contribution. So think about this stuff and start using your critical thinking and start lining up the facts and how they work, because that's exactly how they work, people. They've got you instituted into or indoctrinated through all this propaganda called public education, which is forgetting true knowledge. And that true knowledge used to be passed down by our fathers. We used to gain our earthly knowledge and our natural knowledge from our mom and dad. And slowly this public education system churned itself into our societies again. And it's repeated history. It's a bottleneck thing. We go back to laws of nature when we bottleneck and start learning our true powers and everything. And as time goes on and we repeat that history and we learn more, we repeat that history again and we learn a little bit more, we get better and better at it. And so as time progresses, more and more of us will achieve greater things and overcome all this vaccination mutilation and stuff. So basically, what I want people to understand is when you filed that Social Security application, became an employee, and they are required to requisition things. Look up requisition and acquisition. Acquisition is defined in the Title 26 of the United States Code as collection of debt instruments. That's a good one to read. Just Google 26 U.S. Code acquisition defined. 26 U.S. Code acquisition defined. Look up the federal acquisition regulations. That's Title 48 of the Code of Federal Regulations. Part 52.212-5. Your UCC, you've got your, like I said, UCC 9-307 gives you the location of debtors. Subsection H tells you the United States is located in Washington, D.C. or District of Columbia. UCC 3-402. Every bank account you ever get, they want to know that Social Security account number. That's a tie-in account. That's because it's a Federal Reserve branch account, and you are the authorized representative, and you can ask any bank for from any account that you want a checking account, and you want a checkbook. Get that checkbook and look at that signature line. It's not a signature line. It clearly says authorized signature. And that authorized signature can only come from an authorized representative. Therefore, it is presumed, assumed, and implied on and for the record repeatedly, historically, throughout time, that you are the authorized representative. And under UCC 3-402, subsection B, Part 1, authorized representative giving the authorized signature on the instrument is not liable for the person named in the instrument. Understand the wording. Understand the capacity you are in as authorized representative. You are not liable on the instrument for the person named in the instrument. The person named in the instrument is the trustee of the estate trust. You are the executor of the estate. Comprehend this stuff. Get over your fear and start putting these motherfuckers in their place with your word. Because that's all it takes. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. If it weren't for you guys, unless you guys got some more questions or anything. Alan Harley Clark, how you doing tonight, dear? Question: does the passport method work to establish as a state citizen? Okay. I'll tell you the origin of the Social Security card. Social Security card is established as a pass-through account. Like I said, it's a pass-through account, a branch account of the Federal Reserve, established as an insurance account through the state, which has established a general account through the Vital Statistics Bureau, or Bureau of Vital Statistics, and the Secretary of State Treasurer, to create the Certificate of Live Birth. That's the state account. The Social Security account is the pass-through for that, and that state account is the pass-through for the birth certificate. Those were all established on what's known as a original or genuine statement of live birth. This is the foundational document. Now, this foundational document was first certificated by the county registrar where you were born, when the hospital administrator handed it over to them to certify that it was a true statement of information. That's all it was. It's a statement of information. That statement of information originated from you being born. You were born first before any birth certificate was created. That birth certificate is a financial instrument. Again, the authorized representative giving the authorized signature is not liable on the instrument for the person named in the instrument. First, I'll make clear, my name is not on that instrument. That's the name of the person. My signature is not on that instrument. That's the county registrars or state registrar general and the governor. Those are the two signatures on that certificate of live birth. And then the birth certificate, I don't know whose signature's on that, but there's two signatures on that. And they ain't mine. So I'm not liable on those instruments to begin with. Any instruments after that I was presented, presumed, assumed, and implicated to be the authorized representative. And the only authorized representative ever known is in a commercial capacity. Otherwise, you're known as an entourage or an associate, something of that manner. An authorized representative is somebody who has taken authorization from somebody else to represent something they have already presented. I no longer represent anything. I no longer give any authorized signature as authorized representative of anything. Can't make me either. Can't make me. That's what I did the last time I walked out of jail. They wanted me to sign release papers so they could lease me again after the judge already gave discharge orders. And they tried to convince me that I had to sign these documents saying that I was going to pay them $4,800 for my luxurious stay. We're not going to release you until you sign these papers. Okay, we'll see how that goes. You better call that judge. And just my knowledge of it and my assertion of it, and I was out of there in 15 minutes. They didn't want to mess with me anymore. They already had me locked up in solitary confinement for the first week I was in there because they was afraid I was going to educate too many people in there and cause a disturbance. Call me a sovereign citizen all you want. Know your truth and speak it. Learn how to speak it peacefully and quietly, but assuredly at arm's length. Anyway, again, if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Arlene asks, should you contract with any agency of the court for fines, payment, etc.? If you refuse, can they say you have to or go to jail? They cannot jail you for non-payment of fines. That's what 12 U.S.C. 411 is all about. That's what I just explained. Federal Reserve Act, they've made you a authorized representative of being able to, as a holding agent, to be able to pass debt instruments. Now, as that authorized representative, you don't have to give a signature. They've already presumed, assumed, and implied through their own legislation that you are, in fact, the authorized representative to be a holder and a transferor of debt instruments. That's why you're allowed to use Federal Reserve notes, which are meant specifically for government employees. That's why they got away with classifying you as a Medicare qualified government employee by indoctrinating you into believing that you were signing a Social Security retirement application that in fact is an employment application. So anyway, I'll explain. It's been, like I said, I don't sign anything anymore. Most recently, I did put a signature to a first attempt at a accepted for value. And guess what I did it on? The very fines and fees and penalties that the court is trying to assess the person. So I went down and got a summary of the account. And right there on that summary of the account, I put my accepted for value. And I sent it off to the IRS. Next week, that was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Next week, I'm going down and I'm going to request another account summary. And I'll finalize or I'll update on that. I'll do a video update on that. But in the meantime, like I said, I haven't signed anything but that in 3.5 years. Prior to that, I spent 3 years of signing nothing but UCC 1-308 on everything I signed, including 11 citations I got from the local policy enforcers, all the way from assault, disorderly conduct, interference with official acts, dog at large, dog causing harm, speeding, no insurance, 11 different citations, and they're all still on the record. You can look me up. The name is Keith Orland Little, Keithlittle, and the middle name is Orland, Orland. Keith Orland Little, Waterloo, Iowa, You can look me up on the public records and see what I've got out there for fines and stuff. And like I said, you'll see 11 citations, and they're all from 3.5 to 6.5 years ago. 3.5 years ago, I got my last one, and that was the possession charge you'll see on there. You'll see a possession charge with subsequent charges of driving violations. That possession charge was a sixth offense, and I've explained about that before, but my detail here is the previous charges, those other 11 citations that I signed with UCC 1-308. I never went to court. I signed the tickets. I handed it back. I ripped up my copy and threw it away and never went to court. Okay? Then I got pulled over and got the possession charge with the subsequent charges. Okay? You understand the timeline? 3 years prior to that, signed them, never went to court. Assault, disorderly conduct, interference, dog at large, 11 different citations. And then I went to court, and I was threatened by refusing counsel, state-appointed counsel. I didn't refuse counsel. I refused state-appointed attorney. And was threatened that I was facing up to 4 to 6 years with all the charges. Now, mind you, I said it's sixth offense. And that sixth offense, being threatened with 4 to 6 years without an attorney, the prior 5 offenses, all 5 times I had a public pretender, and I got 2 years each time. With fines and drug evals and all that. This time, however, doing it without an attorney, all by myself, cussing and swearing, calling them every name in the book, communist bastards included, waiving no rights, signed no papers. Like I said, even after they found me guilty and I did their measly time, I walked out of jail and didn't sign no papers. But I ended up getting 60 days. Now, granted, I did 47, and it wasn't a perfect win, but it's certainly a win of experience because the DA now has a protection order out on me and has reinforced it every year since. Now, when I get stopped by the police because the postmaster wants to call and cry and whine because I'm asserting my authority as a national and he's the public servant, and he'll listen to me, and he wants to call the police and they have an interaction with me and they do a background check on me. And mind you, this was just a couple months ago. These are tickets and stuff from 3 to 6 or 3.5 to 6.5 years ago, and they have no enforcement and they prove it. The DA continues to reinforce a protection order on that person, and when they call in my name, that's the only thing that shows up. No warrants or anything. Now, I don't care what kind of games they're playing, because I'm not playing games anymore. And if you think they don't watch my page, wrong. Hi, bitches. They know they triggered somebody that knows how to work it now. I know how to educate myself. Fuck everybody. I'm questioning everything. And you need to too. Like I said before, when I get done, I'm questioning that fucking fly on the wall. Because I don't believe anybody. But my experience tells me the truth. So if you want to believe what all these other people that you want to believe as gurus are telling you about filling this out and filling this out, you don't need to. You've already filled out all the wrong information. You've already been filling out all the wrong forms. They're all their forms. Make me sign. A contract has to have 2 signatures. make me sign. Willingly, knowingly, and intentionally. Make me sign. Did you know a signature is a second language? It's a foreign language. It's not common English. It's a contract term called a signature. Of course they're watching it. They told me at trial they're watching it, Arlene. I said, yeah, you better keep watching it. Because this ain't done when this trial's over. And they know that. They know I gave up every bit of commerce. I don't work. I haven't paid taxes in 15 years. I haven't paid child support in 10 years. I haven't signed anything in 3 years. I keep telling you people, my word is my bond. I don't need some fictional words on a piece of paper to tell me the truth. I see it. 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 I hear 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 it. I taste it. I use every last one of my senses. I use my instinct. And when one of my senses, and believe you me, you're not limited to 5 senses, people. You're not limited to 6 senses, people. If you educate yourself, you'll realize you've got much more than that. There are people that have 24 senses, 36 senses. It's your abilities to use. So when you learn these concepts and you understand what truth really is, the truth is only yours. Everybody else is fiction. What everybody, like I said, that fly on the wall, I'm going to question him because I don't believe him. You want a contract from me? I'll write it. I'll put the words to paper. Then it's my sword. I get to put the spell down. So think about this stuff, people, and realize it really is that simple. It's just a matter of educating yourself. And I suggest, and I've said it many times before, if you want to educate yourself, you educate yourself in 3 particular departments. Pay attention real close, people. 1. Etiology. E-T-I-O-L-O-G-Y. Etiology is the study of a root cause. Root cause. Etymology. E-T-Y-M-O-L-O-G-Y. Root word. It's like I explained about representative, defendant. Those aren't words, those are terms with conditions. Conditions that were added, such as prefixes and suffixes. Find the root word and understand the root word, and then find out what the suffixes and prefixes were added to it, what they mean, and how they change the meaning. And then epistemology. E-P-I-S-T-E-M-O-L-O-G-Y. Epistemology. Root knowledge. Root cause, root word, root knowledge. And another good reading I suggest for everybody is Hitler's willing executioners. If you want to see where everybody's at today and just doing their job, just doing as they're told, who's your authority then? I want to talk to your supervisor. Well, he's not in today. You've been indoctrinated with all this propaganda through a public education system that is leaving out root knowledge, root words, and root causes, and just giving you a plethora of all kinds of nice, wingy-dingy, nice little chimes and lights. Football games and athletic events and comedies and dramas and action movies and all kinds of news hype and get real. Learn who you are. You're the author of your own word. That's where the authority comes from. You know, author means your own word. So what do you mean about jurisdiction? Right words? So you have to author your own words. So where's your jurisdictional authority? Where does your jurisdictional authority? My mom, and it just fucking grinds me to this day. My own mother worked for the Social Security Administration for 27 years and looked at me the last time we spoke and said, Keith, the police are your authority. Sad. Sad. I knew better. I had to look her right in the eye. I said, bullshit. Where do you get your authority? Who passed your authority? I made a post earlier about the Second Amendment, your right to bear arms. You know, I keep trying to tell everybody everything's fucking backwards. Why don't you people take the time and opportunity to read the Constitution backwards and understand the right to bear arms isn't the right to bear arms, it's the right to your armorial bearings. Maybe now you understand the words. Etiology, etymology, epistemology. Connect the dots. It's really simple. It really is. All you got to do is read this information and see it. It sits right there. You know, June 13th of 1967, the congressional session that was held that day, and it's on record, and it sits in the Library of Congress, has quoted within the record that the 14th Amendment is unconstitutional, and therefore by operation of law there really is no dual citizen person of the United States and state citizen. Really isn't. But along with that, we see this federal government and this thing about territories. And within that same congressional record, it states that the Reconstruction Acts, which is what determines your federal territories, is invalid. So does the federal government really have any authority over any kind of federal territory? You know, this is what the Bundy case was all about. Bureau of Land Management has no fucking authority, whether they want to call it public lands or private lands or not. I don't care who the fuck they think they are. But when you understand the truth of the information, the Reorganization Acts are invalid, and Congress states that. It's on the record. So when they try to place this kind of shit on the fucking record, that's blatantly a false claim. Blatantly. So think about this stuff and realize you guys really need to pick up on this stuff. If you're going to go into these courts, I suggest 2 books you take with you are a Bible, King James Version, 11th edition, 1611, I believe. I guess I stated that wrong, not the 11th edition, 1611 edition, and a concise English handbook. Get this shit right. Let them know you understand that, I'm sorry, but I'm an idiot. I don't understand what your signature's all about. I quit using cursive, so I forgot how to use it. And that's a scientific fact that can be proven. You quit doing something, you can technically forget how to do it. Yeah. Think, people. Think. Mankind's most important tool, most powerful weapon, is his own mind, if he'd just use it. We create what's before us. I posted a nice little picture of a letter that we got from a collections agency. Somebody that had bought a debt and was offering to accept our payments for $800 and some for a previous $1,700 and some supposed debt. But they stated multiple times that it was an offer. So we simply sent a letter back. I don't understand all the other stuff in this letter, but I understand you're trying to send us an offer we can't accept. Sorry. It's as simple as it is. It's as simple as it gets. Surrender is only can deliver salvation. Yeah, why don't they recognize this when we state it then? Because they're testing your knowledge. When I walk into court and the judge looks at me in my attire, I don't care what the fuck I look like when I walk in with a sweatshirt and jeans. And when he looks at me and asks me if I'm practicing law without a license, I look at him with a big smirk on my face and say, well, I didn't know there was any such thing, but I'd be glad to subpoena a state licensing commissioner and put him on the stand and find out. All you got to do is assert your knowledge. Know where the real truth lies. Who has the real authority. Where they get their authority. It's like the 10th Amendment. You know, I spoke on this in a couple videos back. The 10th Amendment needs to be rewritten. You know, if you read the 10th Amendment, it says, let's see, what is it? The power is not delegated to the United States in the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved respectively to the states or the people. Now, most people can read that and see that they're talking about powers, okay? But then they never mention any specific or general powers delegated, where they were delegated from, but only where they're delegated to. And then they put respectively to the states or the people. Now, didn't no man delegate no powers to me? Didn't therefore no government, nor no constitution delegate no powers to me? I do the delegating, motherfuckers! I'm not an asshole. I'm the whole ass, and I will tell you motherfucking assholes when to fart. And this is what you guys have to do. You have to be able to stand up and understand that when I'm talking about the correction of the 10th Amendment, we have to correct the wording in that. That's what they use against us, is the words. So when we read that 10th Amendment backwards, remember I told you about reading this fucking Constitution backwards? Read that 10th Amendment backwards. And understand that the powers not delegated to the United States by the people in the Constitution, nor prohibited by the people in the Constitution to the states, are reserved to the states. Correct it so that people understand where those powers were originally delegated from. Point of law, point of clarity. Assert the First Amendment, redress of grievance to the government. Petition the government to correct the record. Concise English, so that it is comprehensible and cognitive, or capable of being cognizant by the common man. Equality is paramount in the law. Equality in comprehending that law is paramount in law. The law is to be uniform throughout all jurisdictions. State statutes cannot abridge federal statutes. Federal statutes cannot abridge the Constitution. The Constitution cannot abridge common law. Common law cannot abridge ecclesiastical law. Ecclesiastical law cannot abridge natural law. There's a hierarchy of natural law. Natural law says that when a dog is cornered, a dog will defend however he feels necessary, dependent upon his instincts of survival, no matter what else might be possible, no matter whatever else is intangible, no matter what religion I have, I will bite, motherfuckers. No matter what political realm you think I live in, I will bite, motherfuckers. No matter what organization you think I'm involved with, you corner me, I will bite, motherfuckers. I am authorized for a reason, and it isn't because you did so. It's because it's natural law. Like I said, that a state is establishing a trust with co-trustors, co-trustees, co-beneficiaries, none of which have anything to do with you, because you still, no matter what, hold your own authority. You just have to state it. Now, whether you want to state it with their fictional words on paper, or you want to state it with a verbal vibration, or you want to state it with a physical standing in nature, at arm's length, willing to bear your arms and stand for your word, then do so. That's your option. You have many choices. But remember, when you sign, you better know what choices are changing what. Also understand it all has to be true and correct. These guys are caught in so many catch-22s, it's pathetic, people. It's pathetic. You can look, anybody out there that's got a medical statement, look up on your medical bills and stuff, and you'll see them, they'll say patient and obligor. Patient, obligor. Look them up. They'll be annotated differently. One will be all caps. One will be first, middle initial, last. They know what they're doing. You need to learn what you're doing. Malika Dulce did a video earlier explaining how your bank, and like I said, you are. That's what the Social Security account is. It's an insurance account using Federal Reserve notes as a branch account of the Federal Reserve, and they both instituted a program of commerce using an estate trust where they named you as authorized representative who is capable of moving from capacity to capacity and doesn't know it. As a minor, you're the beneficiary. As an adult, without stepping up to the correct capacity and still operating as a United States or states person and not claiming your private estate, you are a trustee, a co-trustee, but you are the creditor trustee and still able to use the authorized representative aspect. But you still must follow certain regulations, policies, and procedures within those commercial rules and procedures. Once you become an adult and you are executor or executrix of your own estate, you move it to the private side, or you establish your private estate and you can still use the public estate in the interest of clearing that public debt. You can get salvage awards for reclaiming debts for the United States. Let's see. Stepping up as counsel for people that don't know how to stand up for themselves in cases like this. Preventing these bar attorneys from taking advantage of the estate and not paying taxes on it. We can now step up into place as counselors. Don't have to be an attorney. Just counsel in the background, giving information. That's all we're doing is passing information. We're not standing up there for him. We're passing the information that he then presents himself. Once we're able to fill in the gaps and fix our own record, we can now be counsel to help others fix their records. That's counsel, people. When young warriors made mistakes, they took counsel with their elders. So think about this stuff and realize that Social Security account is an employment application for in providing insurance for a government employee who is providing funds that are then matched by the federal government into that insurance fund. Title 4D, Federal Income Contributions Act, or maybe it's Federal Insurance Contributions Act. I think it's Federal Insurance Contributions Act. So think about this stuff and realize how all this stuff ties together. It's all contract terms and conditions. And when you sign that Social Security application at the age of 18, you signed the wrong document. You should have been signing estate documents, moving that the equity capital from that minor account to your own private estate, so that you could create your own persons in private under International Business Corporation and doing your own private banking through offshore private banking accounts, or establishing your own private banking association. This is how it really works. So I suggest you people understand this stuff. Again, I know there seems like a lot to learn, but it really isn't. It really isn't. Go through my page and understand. There's a lot of information out there. You just got to learn how to tie these dots together. When they're talking about employment, they're talking about public officials, corporate officials. Officials. What's an official? Both of those terms use official. What's an official? It's an officer. Officer what? It's an officer. A military officer. We're under military rule. All this commerce is militarily enforced. How is that? Well, because it's through Admiralty Maritime. Well, why is it militarily enforced? Well, because we have landlocked states that don't have access to the largest branch of military, which is the naval force, which, by the way, comes from naval force. What is the naval force? It is the life force. Where is the navel? The navel is the umbilical cord that initially gave you the life force when you first were born. You want to connect some dots? How's that for connecting some dots for you? When you were born, your umbilical cord was the navel center. It's what gave you your life force. It's your military at arms. It's your force. It's your force of arms. It comes from your life force. And that comes from your naval force. You protect your internal organs externally with your external arms. Your Navy is your external arm of the body of states. The organ of the states, of the body of America. How's that? How's that for analogy? Well, it's a good place to start about learning to claim the estate. You got to understand where you came from. You got to know your heritage, things like that. But understand, inherently, each one of us has a free will. And that free will, I don't care what kind of religion, what kind of politic, what kind of political body, what kind of religious body, what kind of financial body, what kind of taxation body, whatever kind of body you want to put yourself in. We exist beyond a body in a greater unit of one. And that's where our true estate comes from, is our free will. And that is something that nobody is supposed to be able to usurp. And that's why I say that force of arms, your free will, make me sign. You can't. If I decide I just want to go limp, I can go limp. And then if anybody wants to make me sign, they have to physically do it. And therefore, it wasn't me signing. I didn't do it. The obverse is the same. If I don't sit here and help people fill in the gaps, then I am enabling the system that's helping you sign. I'm enabling this public indoctrination system that they call education. I'm enabling that system to teach you that writing cursive is the way we do it. It is not. It is a foreign language. And they specifically taught you how to write every letter in cursive in all different ways and means so that you could specifically give an authorized signature. You want to write a valid contract, you write it yourself in blue ink, in cursive, so that everybody, with nice straight lines and everything, so that everybody can read it, so that anybody that comprehends the level of cursive and has gotten to that 7th grade reading level and understands cursive can contract. There's your age of majority. There's your age of majority. Those who can comprehend. So now think about it. See, when I say walk into these courts with a Bible and a concise English handbook, and they're going to know you're getting serious, because now you've brought your estate, your emotional state, estate. You're following your heart, your emotions, telling you that you have a free will. Just like any other man. You can go into any court around the world, exception of very few, and ask them 3 questions. Do I have the right to believe what I wish to believe, just like you do? Automatic yes. Do I have the right to make my own choices? Automatic yes. Do I have the right to change my mind for any reason at any time? Just like you do. Automatic yes. And if I believe that I have those rights, and I believe they're comparable to everybody else, then I have to hold them for everybody else. You know, there's I can't remember the code, Title 18 USC 1492, I think. If you see somebody violating somebody else's rights, you're supposed to report it. You're supposed to stand up for your fellow man and report that somebody else is trespassing against them. They will answer those 3 questions. Ask that administrator. Ask the guy across the way, the guy calling himself a prosecutor. Do I have the same right to believe what I want to believe just like you do? Do I have the right to make my own choices? Do I have the right to change my mind anytime I want for any reason I want? And who the fuck are you standing here trying to make choices for me or tell me I have to follow this rule or that rule? What's the contract that says I have to follow your summary process? What's the contract that says I have to follow your procedures and policies? Where's the identification? You know, each party to every suit must be identifiable and identified. I demand, on and for the record, proof of identification and identifiability. Where is the employer and employee? Who are they? What are their capacities? Because when the truth of the matter comes out, it is always known, presumed, assumed, and implicated, and has been for a long time, that I am the authorized representative, a Medicare qualified government employee. In fact, when the Social Security cards first came out, it said right on them, employee signature. That employee signature belongs to the card holder. The account number on the card belongs to the person who is the account holder. The account holder is a person created by the state and the Federal Reserve. The birth certificate is the other half of that person created by the United States and the Federal Reserve. They are all accounted and regulated and accounted for through the IRS because it is property that was provided by the International Monetary Fund, who provides Federal Reserve notes for the U.S., North America, and other types of currency for other foreign nations, all known as legal tender. Lawful coin is not legal tender. What was that? Malika, she put it up 15 USC, or no, 31 USC 1351, I think. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, think about this stuff and realize, people, you are the authority. And long before you write it down, long before you speak it, long before you can act it, you have to learn it. You have to learn the cause, the root cause of things, etiology. You have to learn the root words of things, etymology. You have to learn the root knowledge of things, epistemology. And I suggest you start learning. Read this stuff, read it over and over. I read it all the time. And granted, I know a lot of you guys aren't in the position I am. I quit commerce totally. I spend a lot of my time studying. A lot of the trading and bartering I do is for housemate types things, taking care of basically house sitting type or deal. And it works out pretty decent for me, and that allows me to do my studying. But I suggest you start getting away from that TV, putting down your potato chips and your soda pops, and start learning, start educating yourself, start investing your own time in establishing your emotions, your E-state. Anyway, I've gone on way too long. I only wanted to talk about quick little tie-ins about Social Security account and stuff. But again, if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. God bless. I love you. Have a great night. Bye.